Most realtors are not going to say this out loud. Sometimes the biggest risk in real estate is not the house, but the person guiding you through the decision. Most agents are trained to keep the deal moving, but keeping the deal moving is not the same thing as protecting the client. If your agent is afraid to talk about resale risk, pricing problems, neighborhood concerns, commute issues, or anything that can make you regret the home later, you might not be getting advice, you might be getting sold. I'm Jamie Mushaw, and I've been helping buyers and sellers in the Portland and Vancouver metro area for the last 30 years. And my job is not to make every house sound perfect, but it's my job to help you make a smart decision with the full picture. So in this video, we're gonna talk about what red flags to look for and what good realtors should be pointing out, and to see if the agent is protecting you or if they're protecting the deal. So a couple of things that we're gonna talk about for red flags that you need to look for is, and I'm gonna kind of blend these two things together, is going to be the yes agent and inexperience. And how those two work together is going to be essentially that a yes agent is somebody that's gonna just say yes all the time to you and basically try to get you through the transaction and not basically pause and talk about things that need to happen. And a lot of times that comes with inexperience, because their inexperience also means that they're probably not selling a ton of homes. And when they're not selling a ton of homes and they want to get that sale, they're going to always tell you yes. The core problem is that real estate is a commission-based business. And when you have a commission-based business, you have sometimes that agents that are out there that are solely looking out their best interests versus their clients. And when that happens, you don't necessarily get the best advice from that particular agent. So it's super important that when you're deciding to buy or sell a home, that you really vet the agent that you're looking to hire. How many transactions do they do? And how much experience do they have in the particular scenario that you're looking to be in, whether it is buying or selling, and really making sure that they're gonna look out for your best interests, because unfortunately you do have agents out there that don't sell a lot of real estate. The nationwide average is less than 3 deals a year by agents. So if you have an agent that's only selling 3 homes a year, the likelihood is that they're probably going to be looking out for their interests versus yours, because the commission is extremely important to them when they're selling a home. So here are some things that you might want to look out for when you are hiring an agent to represent you, whether you're buying or selling. Let's just say you have an agent that you are hiring to help you purchase a home, and you're not super familiar with the home purchasing process, and you are looking at homes in neighborhoods and you come across one that you really love, but they are not necessarily giving you the best advice about that particular home because they don't have the knowledge of that neighborhood, or maybe the construction of the house, or recent or past sales in that particular neighborhood. They don't know how to advise you through that transaction. And what's going to happen is that they're always going to give you the yes answer. Like, they're not going to give you the true opinion about the house or that property or neighborhood. And so you really need to make sure that you're getting advised correctly, especially, let's just say you do go under contract on a property and then you get into the inspection phase of this. That's going to be one of the most important things about the whole entire purchasing process, because let's say you get into a home that you have multiple inspection issues, but they don't know how to negotiate them, and then they wind up telling you, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be okay, and then you realize after the fact you've closed on this home and there's multiple issues that you should have probably negotiated throughout the transaction, and that didn't happen. It winds up not only costing you more money, but now you just overpaid for a house that you won't necessarily get that money back out of, and it's going to cost you a ton of money long term because of those issues. It's extremely important that you find someone that is in tune not only with those values and everything else, and they're advising you on that purchase before you go under contract, but again, one of the biggest pieces is the inspection period, because if you have an agent that's not in tune with what things currently cost to fix, then again, it's going to cost you more money long term. And that's including from roof, foundations, plumbing, electrical, everything that you can think of that goes into a home inspection. You have to have somebody that has the contacts that can get you bids on those issues that are coming up within the property. And not only that, you have to be able to have the skill and knowledge to be able to go into another negotiation with the seller and the listing agent to be able to say, hey, look, here's things that have come up on the transaction whether you deal with them now or you deal with them later, you're gonna have to deal with them at a certain point. My buyer still wants to purchase this property, but we're gonna have to get over the hurdle of these issues that are going to come up no matter what, and you're gonna have to negotiate them at a certain point in time anyway. And so what happens is that when you have an agent that is not in tune with any of that stuff, it just goes back to the fact that they're gonna tell you that it's fine, and it's gonna cost you money in the long term. So of course, I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. And when I come across issues, I luckily have enough knowledge and I have a sphere that I lean on, that if there's something that comes up that I don't know about, I will go out and find the answer. So I'm making sure that I'm advising my clients correctly. And when you have an agent that may not be experienced or not have that sphere or connections to contractors that can advise you correctly, that in turn is going to reflect on them not advising you correctly throughout the transaction. And the other thing that I would probably look out as a third item is that real estate sometimes moves at a fast pace, and it just depends on what market that you're in. But most markets, you have time to make decisions in. And if you feel like you're being rushed, you probably are. And that is not a good thing in real estate, because for most people, this is the biggest investment that they have. And if you think that you're being rushed, it's probably because there's a hidden agenda behind whatever this agent is trying to get you to do. They're saying, yes, that's the right one. No, you don't need to do that. They're not taking time to investigate into things that are going to look out for your best interest. So you need to make sure that you have an agent that is going to take you through the entire process, talk you through every possible scenario that could come up, so that way you can make an educated decision when you're looking to purchase your home. The third red flag that you want to look out for is the rush agent. You're probably wondering, what's a rush agent? A rush agent is going to essentially try to push you through that transaction as quickly as possible. Now, why would they do that? Well, because they want to get the deal done, and they're not looking out for your best interests. They're not taking the time to investigate things that are going on with a particular property and making sure it is the correct investment for you. They're looking out for their own best interests so they can get the deal done as quickly as possible. And so why do you want to look out for a rush agent? Well, real estate should be moving at somewhat of a slow pace. You have timelines set in place in your transaction for a reason. There's no need to rush through your timelines when you've had them agreed upon with the seller. And so additionally, beyond that, before you even find a house, you shouldn't be rushed and feel like you should be purchasing whatever house that they're telling you to buy. If you don't feel right about that house, you should take your time and make sure that it's the not to mention, even before you get into contract, you shouldn't feel like you're being rushed to put an offer in on a house, especially if you're just starting to look and everything else. That process should be taking time as well, because you want to make sure that you are buying the right home. Because as soon as you go under contract, you have to keep in mind that, of course, you can always back out at a certain time, but if you're not paying cash, you're already more invested than most people are going to be. And what I mean by that is that you are doing, financing where you're taking time and energy to submit your loan application. You are starting to spend money on the house, meaning that you're going to be doing inspections. Inspections can cost an upward of $1,000. If it's not the right house for you and you were rushed into making that decision, you are now blowing $1,000 where you could have just been spending that money on another property that you were truly vested in wanting to purchase. And you have to go back and think, why is this agent rushing me through this transaction? And it ties back in with that lack of experience, lack of homes that they're selling, and really just not looking out for your best interests as a home buyer, especially in times where things are becoming more and more expensive. They are going to only look out for what's best for themselves and really protect their pocket and not yours. So enough of the negativity. Let's focus on what a good agent looks like. And it's going to kind of almost be the reverse of what we've already spoken about. You want somebody that has great knowledge, has homes that they're selling on a regular basis, because that will give them the experience that you're looking for when you go under contract for purchasing, but it is also important to have a knowledgeable agent when you are looking to sell your home. And the reasoning behind this is that essentially you want somebody that's going to guide you through this process and really tell you things that you may not want to hear. When I meet with clients, whether they're buying or selling, that's one of the very first things that I tell them is that I'm looking out for your best interests. And the way that I do business is all relationship based. That's part of the reason that I've been in this business for 30 years. It's also part of the reason that I've done transactions with clients that I've had from 20 years ago recently, is because I stay in touch with them. I have the relationship building skills that ensues the trust that they have in me, and they continue to refer me their friends and family. And to get to that point is that you really have to, again, go back and have that experience and being able to guide your clients through those transactions. And one of the other things that I really talk about when I'm taking on a new client, and this is some things that agents probably don't really say a whole lot, I am very upfront with them. I say every single time, you have thousands of agents that you can choose from. And what I want for you at the end of the day is to have a good experience when you're buying or selling a home. Why is that important? Well, again, it goes back to this being probably your biggest investment that you have. And you don't want to be in a transaction where, one, you don't like someone, and two, you have to be able to trust them. And if you don't like them, you probably aren't going to trust what they're saying. And so I really make it clear at the beginning of the day that I want to make sure that when we go into a transaction together, that not only that we have that trust and likeness, is that if you don't think I'm the right fit for you, or you're not the right fit for me, then the last thing I want to have happen is that we get into a transaction where things aren't going to turn out the way that you would like them to. And so it just goes back to making sure that when you're looking for an agent and have that positive experience, that you guys really mesh and meld together for having a good experience when you're looking to buy or sell. Another thing that you really want to focus and kind of look out for is that someone that is going to tell you something that you might not want to hear, because again, this is a commission-based business. And if someone is willing to hold off on getting paid for another 60, 90, or 120 days, they're probably advising you correctly. I'll give you a good example. I have a client that, we've showed multiple houses to. They have something very specific that they're looking for. We've written an offer on a property. And before we even wrote an offer on that property, one of the conversations I had with them was, look, this is a very unique house. And when you go to resell, your buyer pool is going to be extremely small. So you have to be smart about what you purchase this house home for, because if for some reason that you have to resell it in the next 3 to 4 years, where I always advise my clients, especially right now in the market, you need to be in your house for 5 years unless you're getting some absolute screaming deal on the property. But 5-year minimum is typically what we talk about. And the last thing I want to have happen is that my client gets trapped in a house because they made an emotional decision about purchasing versus a financial decision where anything can happen in the future. And you need to be able to make sure that you can sell that home. And a good agent is going to talk you through all those hurdles that you might have with this house, even though you may really love it. And so you need to make sure that somebody's going to talk to you about the cons of purchasing a particular property, so they're advising you correctly. So while we're on the topic of honesty and some of the things that agents may not necessarily talk about specifically in the areas I serve, which is going to be downtown Vancouver, we have Camas, I do a lot of business in Ridgefield, and of course in the Portland metro area, is some of the things that you don't see that go on behind the scenes in these particular areas. For instance, if you take Ridgefield, for example, if you have a client that's looking for a home on property, you have to make sure that you remind them, because Ridgefield is essentially the largest or fastest growing city in the state of Washington. Just because you have a property on acreage right now doesn't mean 5 years from now you're going to be surrounded by new construction, because that's one of the biggest things that's happening at the moment. If you're buying in downtown Vancouver, I love the waterfront. There's some amazing houses in downtown Vancouver, but there are definitely sections of downtown Vancouver where the homeless population is concentrated to. And you have to be able to know where those areas are at to protect your investment. Camas. I love Camas. I think it's a great area. I think it has some of the best potential for values always staying in a range and not fluctuating up and down in big dynamics. But one of the things that you need to know about Camas is that it's expensive to live there. And one of the main reasons is because of the taxes. Everyone wants to live in Camas. They might be able to afford, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 house. But when it comes to the taxes, that's what's the difference between being able to live in Camas and not live in Camas. And lastly, when we talk about Portland, one of the other things that is super important about the Portland metro area is that every pocket and neighborhood in Portland is different. And your values can vary from one end of the spectrum to the other just by a couple streets. So if you don't know those pockets within Portland, you're gonna wind up overpaying for a property, or not. If you're looking to sell, maybe you're not listing your home for the correct value because you're basing values on a neighborhood that's not a comparative neighborhood when you're looking to purchase in the Portland area. So another thing about Portland is that obviously it gets a lot of headlines nationally. If you're not familiar with Portland, it's definitely a politically fired city. And so what you really need to look at is that, do your views align with some of those neighborhoods that you might be looking to buy or not want to buy in? There's also a lot of headlines about Portland in general to where you're hearing things that are not necessarily true. And we have to be able to look at those neighborhoods and really find out the truth about if you're wanting to live or not live in those areas, and not listen to the outside noise and come up with our own conclusions by investigating those neighborhoods that you're considering. So to kind of wrap all this up, I think at the end of the day, this all just goes back to the honesty of the agents in conjunction with their experience, because you want to have somebody that has both of those. When you're looking to buy or sell, you're going to go from a broad view all the way down to a specific view, and you need to make sure that the agent is looking out for your best interest, whether that be, is the house priced correctly? Are you buying the home for the right price? Are they going to look out for you during your inspection period? If you're selling your home, do they look out for you in terms of what the house should actually sell for, and advising you on the things that you may need to be doing to prep your house for sale? And then going back to, if you're purchasing, other things that you need to be looking out for is, what's the status of the HOA? Are there assessments coming up? All of these types of things that you may not be thinking about as a home buyer or home seller, you need to make sure that an agent that you are looking to hire is knowledgeable in all of these aspects of real estate. But not only that, is being forthcoming with you in regards to these things that you need to be thinking about, because a lot of times when you're dealing with real estate, as an agent that's been doing this for 30 years, I'm thinking about things that I deal with every single day, and I need to be able to advise my clients about things that I see in the market every day, because they're relying on you at the end of the day to give you the best advice that's looking out for their interests and not yours. So if you're looking for an agent that has 30 years of experience, that's honest, and you're thinking about buying or selling in Vancouver, Camas, Ridgefield, any area in Southwest Washington or the Portland metro area, I can definitely be the resource for you when you're looking for advice as to what you should do, whether you're looking now or 6 months from now. Obviously, since I've been in the business for 30 years, I will be here for you when you're ready to make that move in real estate. If you have any questions or you want to book time to chat with me, the link is below.